How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and welcome to my Echoes of the Atlas / Ritual League starter. This is going to be my Firestorm Hierophant. Now, I have not played Templar pretty much ever. Well, I've played Templar one time, and it was a complete meme. But I've decided to try some new things. The build I was going to go for this league was either going to be a Firestorm character or a bow shadow, and I decided on playing the Firestorm spellcaster. So, with that, I decided to go for Hierophant and mess around with some Templar stuff and see what I could come up with. Now, I'm sure the title probably says 6 million DPS Firestorm character, and I'm sure you're seeing this, and a lot of people are immediately going, oh, well, that's bullshit. But what you have to keep in mind is that Firestorm allows you to have 3 active intervals of it, all ticking at the same time, maximum of 3 Firestorms at a time. And when I turn on all of my bossing stuff and equipped a second wand, all of a sudden we hit 2 million total DPS, which this is per Firestorm, with 3 Firestorms active makes 6 million DPS. I want to make sure I put that at the start of the video because people, call me out on clickbait stuff, even though it's not really. Yeah, so I'm going to put 6 million because it's better for the title, but that is not actually a lie either, considering how the character is set up. But yeah, I'm going to run you through this character. I've of course set it up for solo self-found, as achievable as possible. Oh man, it's dusty in here. As achievable as possible, this character, because I am of course going to be playing it myself. I will give you build progression episodes as I upgrade the character. There should be one day 1 and then one day 2 or 3 as I progress through the week. I plan to play for about a week or so until I end up getting bored with the character and then moving on / going back to World of Warcraft stuff. So, on that note, let's take a look at the skill tree and the Hierophant stuff, and what we are scaling. Now, I was originally going to do, like, Mind Over Matter with Chaos Inoculation, all this sort of stuff, and then I did all that, and I sent it to one of my mods to look over it, because I have my builds reviewed by a couple different people sometimes. And he basically said that Mind Over Matter and Chaos Inoculation doesn't work at all. So that idea kind of got shittered, and I had to replan a little bit. So since then, the build's gotten a lot better, but I have gone a lot more in the damage sort of scenario, but you can go more ES if you want to, if you need more survivability. Of course, I'm going to play it and test it, and we'll be able to see how it actually turns out. So, what I've basically been going with is a mix of Arcane Surge stuff with mana bonuses, basically. So, I'm going for Arcane Blessing, which gives us Arcane Surge when you hit enemies with a spell, for bonus spell damage and cast speed and maximum mana regen. This is going to be up 24/7. Then we get Illuminated Devotion, which gives us Ink AoE while we have Arcane Surge, and gives us immune to elemental ailments, which makes us immune to Frozen, primarily, and all other sorts of extra shit. And then gives us spell damage, Leech Just Life, while you have Arcane Surge. That doesn't really matter. That's irrelevant. Then we come down to Divine Guidance for increased mana, damage taken before life, and Transfiguration of Mind. This doesn't really make much difference. It's a nice damage bonus a little bit, just extra DPS really. But the damage taken from mana before life doesn't work, as I've been told, but the increased max mana is quite nice. And then we get Sanctuary of Thought, which is going to be how I was originally going to scale a shit ton of AoE. It does still give me a little bit of extra AoE, but not a whole lot, really. We are going to be gaining 20% maximum mana as extra max ES, so stacking mana gives us extra life, basically. And then reduced mana cost of spells, and then less mana res of spells, or of auras and whatnot. So that is the Ascendancy that we are going with, and to start us off, we're going to be scaling our Arcane Surge. So we want to get Arcane Capacitor, which gives us increased effective Arcane Surge on you per 200 mana spent recently, up to 50%. Now, we want to spend as much mana as possible, so there's going to be certain things in the build later that are amped up in mana cost for that exact reason. Now, we have 300 flat mana regen and 400 to 500 unres, so we're going to be pretty okay in regards to mana and have no real problems whatsoever. But this is going to be something you keep going throughout a whole map. There's going to be ways to stack it pretty much instantly from the start, which I'll be messing around with when I actually get to play the character. So to start off, we go damage here. You can go life, energy shield here if you want to take the more survivable route. But I went damage because it works better for the path of building, I'll be honest with you. Then we get AoE damage and LE resist plus extra damage here. And then what we're going to do is you can go a couple of different ways for a leveling tree. You can either go to Unwavering Stance, which is not going to be a great start because you're going to do fuck all for damage. Or you can go for around this way to get elemental damage. Or you can get Elemental Overload, but I'd recommend probably working your way towards like CI. And if you're going for the CI route, get to CI and then get to Unwavering Stance, because there's a situation where if you have 1 total life and you don't have stun immunity, you will be stun locked to death no matter what you do, because your stun chance is based off of like your maximum life or something like that. So you're going to want to take Unwavering Stance and your CI node at the exact same time, otherwise you are not going to have a good time. Alternatively, for a leveling tree, you can just go straight damage. You can go up here, you can get Elemental Overload, you can get Heart of Flame and all this fire damage stuff, and do that while leveling, and then go through and get ES stuff. Probably going to do that myself, so I'll pop up here, grab all the damage, grab the cast speed stuff that's nearby, and I grab the cast speed here, grab the damage here, and move on from there. Might be my preferred route of leveling, personally. Just get as much damage as possible, speed through the leveling experience, and then get all the extra stuff. But, yeah. So, for the rest of the tree, we got a bit of damage from Arsonist. We get a bunch of elemental damage through this side over here. Of course, you want to get Arcane Capacitor. This is going to give us a damage bonus. We're going to get Reduced Mana Reserve, because we want as much extra mana as we can get. You can drop this if you want. Doesn't really make a big difference. Does give you extra AoE and some more damage depending on, what is it? It gives you bonus damage because we're running 3 or 4 auras, something like that. Then on the other slots, we're basically getting cast speed, ES, wherever we can, and then spell damage wherever we can. Spell damage, cast speed, fire damage, cast speed with fire spells. This is the stupidest connection I've ever done in a build, but I have to do it because otherwise I'm spending 3 points here, and 3 points is a difference between 94 and 95. So yeah, it gets to be kind of brutal when you get down to brass tacks. So I have this connection. If I were to get to 95, I would put the extra point here and take these 2 out because you get a little bit more value doing that. And then we get AoE here. We get Arcane Will, which is going to give us max mana as extra max energy shield. So our 2000 mana actually gets more value from ES. Obviously, this build's going to get more ES the better gear you get. Most of mine's pretty average, I think. ES stuff here. Spell damage per maximum mana up to 40%. We have 2000, so we're at like 23%, something like that. This also is going to scale up depending how much max mana you get on gear. I put absolutely 0 on any of my gear, so if you get anything with mana, it is equated to extra ES and flat damage. So you can itemize for mana if you want to, or if you get the opportunity to. Then we get Arcane Expanse for AoE and damage. Then CI, obviously, and Reduce Reserve here, and bonus damage here, and then all the fire stuff up here. This is going to give you fire damage leash as energy shield for Firestorm, so we end up getting a shit ton of leech, because we have leech and regen all at the same time, so we pretty much, hopefully, can't die. We'll have to see in practice, but yeah, that's pretty much the skill tree. Like I said, leveling-wise, I'd probably just go up this way, over this way, get this, then over this way, get this, and then go for travel stuff. Might do it the other way around. I might go up this way, get this, then go over here, and then down here, and then get this last. We'll see. I do want Arcane Capacitor around the same time that I get my Arcane stuff here, so we'll see. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it, leveling-wise. We'll see on the day. Probably up this way, get this, then get over here, then get over here. Might leave out Heart of Flame, who knows. Could go any way for leveling. Then into skills, we're going to run a Firestorm with Arcane Surge, Conk Effect, Controlled Destruction, LA Focus, and Spell Echo. You could run an Awakened version of any of this if you come across it, or you can run, what is it? Unleash in place of Spell Echo. I'm considering that myself. We shall see when I play it on the day what feels better, what works better, because Unleash can drop all 3 Firestorms at the same time, which is a good thing for like immediate burst, but going pack to pack, I don't know. Spell Echo also, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The Controlled Destruction is also going to make our crit chance very low, but it is there, so this is going to be something I have to test in practice to see if it's enough crit chance to keep LE Overload up reliably. Because, of course, we're doing multiple ticks all the time for Firestorm. That's doing, like, consistent damage. It impacts every 0.2 seconds, right? Consistent damage all the time. So, could keep LE Overload up, but I'm not really sure. Because 3 impacts every 0.2 seconds is, what, 3% crit chance? Should be fine on bosses, I think, but we'll see. We'll see what that drums up to, basically, and see if it's worthwhile. If not, maybe we have to switch it around for something a little bit different. The rest of it, Arcane Surge gives us bonus damage from more spell damage while you have Arcane Surge. We have it constantly because of our Hierophant stuff. Conk Effect is just damage, 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 and then obviously Spell Echo. Now, we're going to run a Flame Dash, Faster Casting, and we're going to run an Archmage in here to get our mana value up, so we're actually spending more mana every single cast, and as a result, that will get us closer to our thing that had, like, damage per mana spent, wherever that was. Per mana... What the hell was it? It's per mana spent somewhere. Oh, it was somewhere earlier. I just talked about it. You saw it. But yeah, that'll give us more mana spent, so we get bonus damage as a result of that to get us up in that value. Then I have my bossing set up. This is going to be Vol Righteous Fire and Vol Haste. And these are going to be turned on when you do a boss. Obviously, just tap both of these and you'll be fine. And then Wave of Conviction, the boss as well. And then do your initial slam with your big firestorms and just blast the guy. And you should be pretty good to go in that regard. So yeah, that's our bossing setup. This is going to be our auras. We're running a Herald of Ash, which is going to also do like a big AoE explosion outside of the... on the target you kill, which you can have overkill damage. So if the big-ass meteor that it drops, apparently, does a ton of damage, the thing is going to radiate outwards in explosions, and it's just going to look satisfying. It really will. But also just more damage across the board. Anger, more damage across the board. Vitality gives you life regeneration, which converts, or life per second, which converts through Zealot's Oath to be energy shield regen instead. So actually, that's what I'm going to do for skill tree. I'm going to go up this way, get Zealot's Oath, get Arcane Capacitor, and then with Zealot's Oath, I can put on Vitality and be unkillable, pretty much. So that's what I'm going to do for a starting skill tree. And then an Enlighten, if I'm able to get one. If I'm not, well, we'll optimize around that, right? If I can't, it's still playable, but we'll see if I can manage one of those. Then I go for Cast Wind, Stone Golem, Infernal Cry, Second Wind. This is so stupid, but it works, because Infernal Cry lets you cover everything in ash. So it allows you to get that bonus damage on targets that are now covered in ash and take bonus damage from fire damage. So it's useful for bosses, rares, that sort of stuff you can't kill. We're just going to pop this, and it will give us a nice damage boost there. Then this is how we're going to be applying our Curse. It'll either be on this or on a... set up with Wave of Conviction. I haven't played it, so we shall see. But Summon Skitterbots with Hex Touch Flammability is going to hopefully be the way to apply my curse, but we shall have to see in practice. But that's applying Flammability, and yeah. Because I don't think I'll get Curse on Hit Gloves, and even if I do, it's kind of iffy because it won't apply it automatically. Might be good for Curse on Hit Gloves, and I could maybe drop Skitterbots for something else if there's something better. I don't think there is, but still. And then this setup, I'm not too sure about. This is going to be interchangeable, either Steel Skin or Arcane Cloak. Arcane Cloak's going to give less value because we're reserving so much, basically. It's only going to give us a very small shield. So we're going to have a self-cast Steel Skin, probably. I'm going to mess around with both of these and see what it actually max out to for a shield from Arcane Cloak. But if it's not above 2,000, we're going to just use a Steel Skin and call it a day for that. The Second Wind is what's bugging my dexterity, by the way, so you can just knock that off, and all of a sudden, does not make a difference. And the Vol Haste is way too high, but yeah. Alright. You can get extra stats on gear, or that sort of stuff, right? So, I know some people get very finicky about that, so it's whatever. Yeah. That is going to be the skills, and then itemization-wise, we are as simple as possible, really. The only unique I have in here is a Wise Oak. That's if it drops. If it doesn't, you can live without it. But since we're running ES, we can run pretty much any flasks we want to. I have immunity to all ailments, so we can go for other damage flasks in these 2 spots, whatever you want. I'll probably do a Quicksilver, and then a Quicksilver of one of Adrenaline, one of Bleed Removal. Those will be my 2 flasks that I would go for here. And then I have Onslaught Flask for movement speed, Damage Flask, which you're going to pop on a boss, which gives you increased effect for just bonus damage. And then the rest of the gear is just added damage wherever I can. This is a main damage wand, spell damage, fire to spells. You can run 2 of these if you want more damage. I'm running a shield for ES in this case with spell damage on it. You can go for a second wand if you want more DPS. If you get a helmet with Firestorm enchant, you're in a good spot. If not, you know, I don't expect it personally. Everything else just has ES, mana, and life wherever possible. If you can't manage mana, you can just go double percent ES, or sorry, it has percent ES and then percent ES plus max mana. That gives you extra ES basically in regards to value, so that is quite nice. And then boots at movement speed, and the necklace has spell damage, fire damage, increased maximum energy shield, and extra all res on it, and it has strength as well. You're gonna probably get strength somewhere through stats, through one of the suffixes, so that's why I just threw it all onto the amulet, because you're gonna get it somewhere anyways, just through spare rolls, because in SSF you never get fully optimized gear. That's the best chance you got. Then we get overcharged as an anoint. This is going to give us the ability to get frenzy charges, which will give us a nice damage bonus. Otherwise, you're not getting it. The reason I anoint this one is because it's going to be achievable and solo self-found. If you're playing in trade, anoint Disciple of the Slaughter to get damage per charge and +1 minimum charges. That'd be my recommendation. Although this does give you endurance and power, so this might actually be better for survivability reasons, because, you know, you get endurance charges, wherever the fuck they are. And, you know, now you get some physical mitigation and what have you. Whereas power charges, you don't really get anything for. You get crit chance, so that could be useful for proccing your early overload. So actually, you know, this might be better. But it is on kill. Actually, this is on kill too. Yeah. Oh, I think this might actually be better than the other one. But, yeah. To give you that crit chance for early overload and bosses and whatnot. Otherwise, we go for LE damage rings. You can go for energy shield based rings here if you want. This was highest damage. We're going to go for fire damage and just LE damage in general with fire leeched as life. Actually, it doesn't matter. Fire leeched as life doesn't do anything. I don't know why I have that on there. Max mana converts to ES. And then if you... I haven't actually looked into this because I want to get the items first before I, you know, mess around with things. But I haven't looked into any of the influence stuff because I never guarantee myself getting any influenced gear. But there might be some very stupid influence stuff regarding, like, Crusader or Redeemer, like Spellcaster sort of stuff. There may even be some Warlord stuff because Warlords has, like, fire damage tied to it. So, who knows in that regards. I will look into that when I'm playing the character and when I'm messing around with it. And it depends what I get during the league, right? So I'm making it as open as I possibly can for what I can achieve. Some sort of very specific niche, like Warlord's Ring or something, probably not going to happen for me. But if you're in Trade League, look around at the influenced rings, see what you can come up with. There might be something very fancy. Or fossil rings, maybe there's some stuff there too. I didn't see anything personally, but who knows. And then a belt, I am going for a crystal belt with 25% increased fire damage, plus max ES, plus max mana, and then fire res. If you can get the increased ES from body armor on any of these as well, that's a really good roll if you can manage that. But yeah, that's going to pretty much be the character. He's just going to go from pack to pack, dropping firestorms on stuff, and dropping big-ass meteors, hopefully. And... should be pretty simple. Should work quite well for Ritual League. Should be able to kill pretty much anything. And we'll leave, like, a Firestorm over the corpse if it resummons itself. So it should automatically kill pretty much anything it resummons. Bossing-wise, should be good, hopefully. We'll have to see how it stands up to the 10 boss, like, boss rush sort of stuff. I'm not entirely sure about that. But we shall see when we get there. But yeah, I'm actually quite excited for this character because I haven't played Templar before, and Firestorm looks really cool now. It's one of the spells I always wanted to make work, but I never really got the chance to, and then I saw it got reworked when I wasn't playing. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. So do stay tuned for the build progression videos on day 1 and 2 and subsequently to see how the character shapes up. And if it ends up well, I might make it a league starter in the next couple of leagues. We shall see. But yeah, thank you guys very much for listening. If you have any recommendations for the build or you plan to play it yourself, do let me know down in the comments below. I am going to be streaming on the day of league start, of course. If you want to find me on Twitch, that is going to be in the description. If you want to come and hang out, or if you're playing the build, you can pop by and let me know how it's working for you, or what you've done to make yours better, or what you think I should do or consider. That's going to be all for me, and as always, take care, gentlemen. I shall see you in the next one.